All right, everybody. Ready or not, we are back for another build day. Of course, you're ready. Today's just build day 2, so we're still getting started and getting ready to just build momentum with that. So today we are going to work on building the core and the glutes. So these are super important foundational muscles and necessary parts for getting correct placements and positioning and form for the rest of the work that we do on the mat, in the gym, and in our everyday lives. So glutes and core are what it's all about. And all that you need today as far as equipment goes is just a little mini band. So we're going to be using that in a bit around those legs. So we're going to go ahead and get some movement, mobility, geared up, warmed up. Inhale, bring those arms all the way up. And then exhale, just dive really wide forward. Bring those arms out wide and hang. And then inhale, come all the way up. And then exhale and dive forward again. Bend your knees if you need to in order to be able to plant the hands and widen your legs out. And then we're just going to hinge side to side. A little spider lunge here. Get some stretch through your ankles, your calves, your feet, those hips. Try to go ahead and find the muscles of the core, wrapping underneath your rib cage, flexing deep into that abdomen. Remember, we need the core in order to hold the pelvis in place and to support that low back. All right, one more time. And then we're just going to turn on the mat, drop onto your back knee. Your front leg's going to be forward, and we're going to hinge forward and back. So just slide your body forward and then pull back, seeing if you can get the legs straight with the toes up. Forward and back. Square off those hips. Grab through the core. Remember, we want to keep the hips level and stable and that low back. So that little central region of the body, the pelvis and the low back, we should constantly kind of be in check for keeping it in a neutral position. Let's switch the legs. Hinge yourself forward and back. So if we can figure out where neutral is on the pelvis and then also stabilize in the low back, most of the time our low backs should be pretty happy throughout all the other work that we're doing. It could get tired and fatigued, that's fine, but no pulling, no yanking, and no pain is what we're going for. All right, we want to leave better than we came in, right? So we are going to start off with an ISO dead bug. So ISO stands for isometric, which means you are flexing without actually moving. So if you made it to our build day yesterday, when we did the bear pose or the transverse draw, anytime we hold a plank or a glute bridge, those are isometric holds and contractions. So you're flexing muscle into the bone, you're building strength, you're building muscle, and you're activating the muscle without actually moving or going anywhere. So I'm going to have you go ahead and bring your legs up off the ground. We're going to have a tabletop with the shins, and then I want you to flex your feet, your shins, your calves, your thighs, and then the biggest deal here is that core. So find that torso, wrap all the way around, and see if you can smack your low back toward the ground. Now we want to try to find those transverse abdominis again, just like we did yesterday. So on the side front of the abdomen. So some of us, you'll be able to kind of tap and feel if you're getting that engaged. These are the same muscles that you use when you choke or cough or laugh. So you can get a little choke in there, a little cough, and see if everything's operating and flexed in. Okay, so your arms are going to go straight up toward the ceiling, but we're going to find that isometric flex and that iso hold. So you're going to take your right hand, push it into the left knee, and then push your left knee into the right hand. So you're creating a tug of war. It's more like a push of war because your leg is pushing back into the hand and your hand is pushing into the knee. So I've got a pretty good shake going already. My core is definitely flexed. I'm feeling it. And then we're going to extend your left arm and right leg without losing the low back touching the ground. So the further away that your leg extends and the lower that it gets to the ground, the more difficult it is to keep the low back on the ground. So you really want to try to find that range that you can keep that flexion there. It should be difficult to keep, but you're using the core and the activation of the abdomen to stay locked in. This is 7. We're going to do 10 each side. 8. Engage into the core and feel like you're using the abdomen to pull the leg and arm back in. 10. All right, now we're going to hit the other side. Left hand pushes into the right knee into the hand. So your arms should be activated, your legs should be activated. Then we're going to extend left leg, right arm, pull back 1 and 2. So we want to build the awareness of the core to flex on demand, to be able to get our own self-flexion, to tighten in deeper. And then we want to hold those flexions throughout our entire workout. And then also, in a sense, throughout your entire day. The more we activate and draw and get it done right in our workout, the more that we can keep it active to support us throughout the day as we're sitting, standing, walking, moving. 8, 9, 10. All right, hug those knees into the chest a little second. Set your feet right outside your hips. We're going to take a little twist side to side, and then we're going to move on into those glutes. All right, so we've woken up the core. Put your band on just above your kneecaps. So bring it all the way up. Slide it above your knees. If you don't have a band yet, you can actually just train the body through those isometric flexions. You can still go through everything that we're doing today, just without the extra resistance of the band. But trust me, you'll still feel it. Okay, so we're going to start with a bridge, a glute bridge. We're going to do single leg abductions, and then we're going to do an in and out. We're going to go 3 rounds. We're going to start with 20 reps of our bridge. Okay, so I want to talk you through the first set. You want your heels to be set right at about hip width. And then you also want them set so that at the top of your bridge, your knees will be right on top of the heels. So I see a lot of times the heels pull in really far, and then you end up activating more quad. We don't really want that, or super far away. We don't want that either. So right underneath knees is kind of where they should be ending up. And then I want to talk through getting us up into our bridge. So first off, I want us to find that contraction of the low back into the ground again. So already you should feel across the core, just like we had with our glute bridge. I also feel my glutes now. I'm engaging and tucking through my glutes because I'm getting ready to really pull that tailbone to point to the back of the knees, keeping my pelvis in place through grabbing through the core and then pushing my hips up just enough that I'm opening my hip flexor, but I've really got some glute activation going. All right, we're going to drop and then lift. So the goal here is to keep the pelvis in place by using the core and then to really focus on flexing into those glutes. So if you think about it, just grabbing and pressing and flexing your glutes, squeezing those cheeks is what pushes the hips up to the top. What we want to watch for is that we're not over pushing the hips. So at the top of the press, we have a flat back, right? We're not going for a super high arch. Then you just put a lot of pressure on the low back. Definitely don't want to get there. So focus those booty cheeks. That's where we need to get the work going. Those are powerhouse, super important, strong foundation for everything else that's going on through the body, core, and glutes. We need them, we need them. So drive up through those heels. Notice what's going on. Are you pushing your knees into that band? Are you flexing deep through those glutes? 18, 19. At 20, we're going to hold up. Okay, keep that tension on your band. You can use your arms out wide if you need to kind of help support, because we're going to lift one leg up and then we're going to be pulling it to the side. 10 abductions. 1, 2. Watch your supporting leg. It's going to want to pull wide to help support the pull, but you have to just hold it still, and it's going to burn a little bit more than your moving leg. 8, 9, 10. Okay, set that foot down. You should feel the flexion in that glute on the supporting hold side. And then the abductor, little muscle in the upper outer glute on your pulling side. Try to keep your hips level. How do you do that? By engaging the core. 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right, then we're going to do in and outs, which is basically just like a bent knee V-up. So put tension still on that band. You have a few different options. You can just tuck and pull and a little crunch. You can also hold just your isometric here, a tabletop hold, grabbing deep into that core again, or you can extend it all and then pull together, bringing your upper body up off the ground. So there's one. We're going to go to 10, 3, 4. Remember, focus on where you're trying to put the work. And we're working on the core. 7, 8. When you lower down, try to push that low back into the ground. And 10. Set your feet. We're going to go right back into those 20 glute bridges. 1. Get that low back to connect. 2. 3. Focus those glutes. 4. 5. 6. You're training the body to be able to flex and work the muscle where you want. 10. Focus on those glutes. Focus on those hamstrings. You're not using the quads. Create space between your ears and shoulders. 16. 18. Keep that pelvis in place. 20. Lift up through that right leg. Pull to the side. 4. You should feel that supporting leg, that glute, light up. 7, 8, 9, 10. Drop your right leg, lift your left. Remember, we want to keep that supporting leg super still. 4, 5, 9, 10. All right, and then our in and outs or whatever option you took. 2, 3. Keep that flexion, tension in the core and on your band. 8, 9, 10. One more set like that. 20 glute bridges. 4. Find the glutes. Focus. 'Keep that core going. 5 to go. 4. Tension on that band. 2 and 1. Okay, hold up. Left leg's going to pull wide. 2, 3, 5, 6. You're still feeling that core. Watch your foot that's pulling to the side. Make sure that it's not rotating, that your hip isn't rotating in that joint. So a lot of times I can see a rotation in the hip. People point their toe out at an angle. Keep that toe straight up. Pull your hips straight to the side. 3, 2, and 1. And then we're going to go back to our in and outs. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How much can you bury that belly down? 8, 9, and 10. All right, first little set down. Get rid of your band just for a little bit. From seated, take a quick little figure 4 stretch. So you're going to cross your right ankle on top of your left knee and then just lift up out of those hips. Put your hands behind, stretch through the back. Good. And then switch to the other side. Cross your left ankle on top of your right knee. Lift those hips and stretch out. Okay, we're going to go back to those ISO dead bugs. Going back to 10 each side. Flex through those legs. We'll start on the second side. Put your left hand on the right knee. Right knee pushes into that hand. So find that flexion, contraction, and burn there. Extend, inhale, exhale, bring everything back. It's not fast. 2. Focused, controlled. 4, drive knee into hand, hand into knee. As you extend, can you keep that low back really packed into the ground? 9 and 10. All right, other side. Push your knee into the hand into knee. Create that push, that tug of war, extend and contract. 1, 2. Finding that draw in around the rib cage. 4. Make sure that low back stays in contact with the mat. 5. My arm is in flexion. My legs in flexion. My back. 9. 10. Oh. All right. Roll it up. We're going to go back to the band. Put your band on around your high ankle, low calf. All right. And we're going to go back into kind of combo, core and glutes all at the same time. So we're focused on glutes. We might feel some stuff going on in the hamstrings, other parts of the leg, but really we want to focus on those glutes. So we're going to start with a plank abduction. Okay, so we're going to hold a plank, shoulders up over the wrist, and then we're going to step 1 foot to the side and then back. Okay, so again, you're going to be feeling the supporting leg. If you want a little help, if pulling feels like just excruciating and you can barely move the band back up above your knees and you'll have a little bit, it won't be quite as tough. Okay, so we're going to step to the side. I'll show you an alternate in a second. After we do both sides, then we're going to pull straight up. So we have an abduction and then an extension. So if you're not going to do a plank, you're going to pull to the side, set into like a mid squat, pull to that side, 10, and then the other side, and then you'll pull back for 10. Okay, then we're going to move the band up above our kneecaps, and we're going to do little awkward abductors. So you squat and abduct the legs. Should be feeling good. Okay, so set up your high plank. Make sure your shoulders are really high over your wrists, over the palms. Push into your thumb and first finger. So setting your plank up is super important. You want to make sure your butt's not in the air, and you also want to make sure it's not sagging. So set your hips just in line with the shoulders. Tuck in through the tailbone and grab the core. Then tap your toe. 1. You're in control. Feel the glute. Pull that leg to the side. 6. 8. Stay contracted in the core just like we did with our dead bug. Other side. You have to use the flexion of the supporting leg as much as you're using the pull on the moving leg. 9, 10. All right, I'm going to take a little down dog here. Whew. Come back forward, and then we're going to go straight leg kick. So just an extension straight up. Keep those hips lined up. 9, 10. Lots of glute on that lifting leg. Trying to keep those hips level. How do we do that? Grab the core. 6, 10. Whew. All right, bring it up. And we're going to move our band up above our kneecaps. Okay, we're going to go for 30 little awkward abductors. So make sure you sit your squat where your knees can already line up with your toes. Your hips are hinging back. So make sure your butt's dropping back to the ground. Then pull. 2, 3, 4. Sit on the heels. What else do we need to watch? Our upper back, our core. Keep pulling that belly button back toward your spine. Set your pelvis so it's neutral to the shoulders. 20. We're here for those glutes. Build those glutes. 28, 29, 30. All right. Back down. Around those ankles. High ankles, low calves. Always keeping pressure, tension on that band. All right. Set up your plank. Feel that core engage. And then step out to the left. 2. This is one of those we all would want to rush, but we need to dig in. Feel that burn, feel that build. 9, 10. 4. 9, 10. Okay, we're going to do that straight extension. Grip in through that glute. Make sure you're keeping that core strong. Watch your plank. 9, 10. Slide those shoulder blades down. 8, 9, 10. Whew. Lots going on there, but keep your focus, core and glutes. Building that core, building those glutes. All right, here we go. We're going to sit it back on those heels. 1, 2, 3. Keep your knees from falling back in. Means they don't go past that big toe. We're focusing on the push out. 20. Sit on those heels. 8, 29, 30. Okay. One more time from the bottom. Whew. Remember, you're building your awareness of that isometric contraction in the glutes. We're working from there first. Pull to the side. 1, 2, 3. Keep your solid plank. Other side. 4. Grip into the glute on the supporting side. On the pulling side. 9, 10. Whew. All right. Then to our extensions. Feel the glute. If it's tough to find the glute, don't worry about it yet. We'll get there. That's what our goal is. Find awareness. Other side of the muscles. We're building them. 6, 7, 9, 10. Even noticing side to side, I have better awareness and connection one side to the other. So something to check in on and note. Keep working on. Always something. That's what keeps it exciting and fun. Sit on those heels. If you find it difficult to get the pole wide, then narrow your feet. So bring your feet together and work from there. Ten more. 9. 3, 2, 1. Woo! All right. Get rid of that band. All right, we're going to do one more ISO dead bug. And then we're going to get our stretch. All right, pack in that low back. I'm going to put right hand, left leg, set it in. Try to find the toughest way to get where you're going. 4. Flex across, tighten down. 8. 9. 10. Whew. The body is not going to look for the most difficult way to get where it's going. Here we go. Here's one. So you really have to kind of rewire the mind-muscle connection. We're looking to dig in deeper, to heat it up more. Don't lose that flexion. Wrapping muscle to the bone. Through the thighs, through the core. 8. 9. And 10. Whew. All right. Good job. Let's take our arms out wide, put the palms on the ground. Make sure that you're in a lined up position. Crown of the head, chin, your sternum, the belly button. Then the legs are lined up with your hips evenly. Now then, without moving your left foot or your hip, put your right ankle on top of the left knee. And then you're going to let your knee drop out away from the body. Don't move your left foot, but just let everything rotate. So you're twisting from your mid back until your right foot touches the ground, maybe or maybe not. It just depends on how tight you are through the shoulder and the back. But we really have to make sure that we're not moving the foot that's placed on the ground, our anchor point. So it's on the side of the foot now. The sole of the foot is not on the ground, but it didn't move from that position. So grab your core, rotate back up, and then you can check in and see, is my foot still right out from my hip? Mine looks good. So reset, make sure everything's still there. Right foot on the ground, cross your left ankle on top of your right knee. Keep the right foot there, don't move it. And then just let the whole body rotate to the right. Once your left foot's on the ground, let that left knee push away from the body. So you're not trying to pull it into the body, you're pushing it out away. So I feel pretty good stretch through my left shoulder, my pec, my back, and then lots through that hip flexor and glute. One more deep inhale and exhale. Grab through the core. Rotate back to center. Okay, and then let's flip over. Rock and roll. Let's go into our downward facing dog. So we're going to get a hamstring stretch through our down dog. If you're super tight and you're not able to get your hips up in the air, bend your knees. So if you're tight, your down dog will look more like a poorly positioned plank. So instead, bend your knees and let your hips go up into the air. Okay, but keep pushing that left heel toward the ground as you lift your right leg. So lift that right leg. Keep pushing your chest back toward the thigh. Check in. Are you still grabbing that core? So you should feel a nice stretch through the calf and the hamstring. And then we're going to shift forward and hit that pigeon. So bring your right knee up to your right wrist and then see if you can float the foot to the left side of the mat. And then square off your pelvis. Slowly walk your knee back just as far as you can get for your flexibility. This is going to be our consistent stretch throughout build. We're building flexibility as well. So this stretch will grab you wherever you need it, your knee, your hip, your back, glutes. But you want to make sure that pelvis is squared off to the ground. And then depending on where you're at with this stretch, you can drop onto your elbows or even all the way down. And then the more that you open your leg up so that the shin's parallel with the front of the mat, then the more stretch you're going to have. All right, draw that back knee in, push into the hands. We're going to go back into our downward facing dog. This time, drop your right heel onto the ground. Remember, if you need to bend your right knee, that's fine. We're finding flexibility and stretch through the hamstring, your calf, behind the knee. Take a deep inhale. Make sure that your back is engaged so the shoulder blades are sliding down. The belly is strong. Shift forward. Bring your knee to the left wrist and then slide your foot to the right side of the mat. And then this might be your stretch. And you can definitely maneuver your leg with your hands. So pulling it up, moving it around with your hand is totally fine. But when you're setting up your stretch, you want the hips and that pelvis square to the ground. So a lot of times we end up sitting down, opening off to the side, then the hip is up. So we got to rotate, square it off. You want to put everything in alignment to get a healthy stretch. Still a gentle contraction through that core. We don't want to lose the low back. Fantastic job. We're 2 days in for our new series. So far, so good. I'm very excited to keep rolling with you. Push into those hands. Drive both feet to the ground, widen out. We're just going to walk the hands back to the legs or to the feet. If you need to bend your knees, feel free. Hinge over. All right, and then come on up. Fantastic job, everybody. I will see you back tomorrow. Keep the fun going.